The planet Zorath shone like a jewel in the distant galaxy. Its sky glowed with hues of green and gold, and its mountains rose like ancient guardians. Rivers of silver flowed across vast plains, feeding forests where luminous plants waved gently in the wind. The inhabitants of Zorath, the Zorathi, were known across their star system for their intelligence, courage, and devotion to their queen, Nira. Queen Nira was not like other rulers. She stood taller than most of her people, with eyes that reflected the stars themselves. Her skin glimmered faintly, a mark of her royal lineage, and her voice carried the weight of wisdom earned through decades of guiding her people. Nira had faced many challenges, but none had ever threatened her world so deeply as the threat now approaching. One morning, the sky darkened unnaturally. Ships, massive and black as shadows, emerged from the edges of the atmosphere. They moved, with frightening precision, descending toward the planet's surface. The Xyloans had come. The Xyloans were a ruthless race, their armor and weapons forged from materials unknown to the Zorathi. Their ships released beams of energy that burned through the forests and plains without mercy. Panic spread among the Zorathi citizens, but Nira did not falter. She rose on her command platform, her presence radiating calm. "People of Zorath," she spoke, her voice carrying through every corner of the capital city. "We face a trial like no other. We will not hide. We will stand. We will defend our home with courage and unity. Our strength lies not only in our weapons, but in our hearts. We will fight together as one." Her words inspired her people, and soldiers prepared for battle. Nira led them from the front, her sword glowing with energy drawn from the planet itself. The first clash was brutal. The Xyloans' ships fired relentlessly, but the Zorathi defended their cities and forests fiercely. They used clever traps, hidden tunnels, and their knowledge of the terrain to slow the invaders. Despite their bravery, the Zorathi suffered great losses. Entire villages were destroyed, and rivers ran red with the energy of fallen warriors. Nira knew that her forces could not hold forever. She sent a distress signal beyond the stars, a call for aid that few would hear, hoping that somewhere someone might answer. On Earth, light years away, a human named Ryan received the message. Ryan was a skilled warrior and a traveler among the stars. He had trained his whole life to face dangers that ordinary humans could not imagine. When he saw the signal from Zorath, he felt a pull in his heart. Something about the planet's energy called to him as if it knew he could help. Without hesitation, Ryan prepared for the journey. His small spacecraft, built for speed and survival, would take him through asteroid fields and cosmic storms. Earth's leaders warned him of the danger, but Ryan ignored them. He could not turn away from a world under siege. He packed his weapons, recalibrated his ship's engines, and set coordinates for Zorath. The journey was not easy. Meteors and debris swirled through the void, threatening to crush his craft. Solar flares from distant stars knocked out parts of his navigation system. But Ryan's skill and determination kept him moving forward. He remembered the words of his mentor, "A true warrior faces the storm, not the calm." Every challenge strengthened his resolve. Meanwhile, on Zorath, Nira gathered her council. The Xyloans had begun to surround the capital, and reports came in of cities falling. She studied the enemy carefully, noting their formations and weaknesses. She realized that her people's survival depended on more than courage. They needed something, or someone, unexpected. When Ryan finally emerged from the last asteroid field, Zorath appeared before him like a vision. The planet's green-gold sky was streaked with smoke and fire. Cities burned, and the ground trembled from the weight of alien ships. He landed on a plateau overlooking the capital and watched as Nira directed her forces with precision and bravery. Ryan could see the queen clearly. She fought alongside her soldiers, cutting through enemy lines with agility and power that seemed almost impossible. But even she could not stop the Xyloans alone. Their numbers and firepower were too great. The sight filled Ryan with both fear and admiration. This queen, so different from any human leader he had known, was willing to risk everything for her people. Without waiting, Ryan leaped into action. His weapons activated with a hum of energy. He moved swiftly, disabling Xyloan drones and protecting fleeing civilians. The Zorathi soldiers, initially wary of the human stranger, soon recognized his skill and courage. Together they formed a line, standing against the invading forces. Nira noticed Ryan's efforts. She had seen many warriors in her time, but humans were rare in the galaxy, and Ryan's methods were unlike any she had seen. He thought quickly, adapted, and inspired others to follow him. A bond of respect began to form between the alien queen and the human warrior, though neither spoke a word yet. As the sun set over Zorath, painting the sky in red and orange, Nira knew the coming days would test her people in ways they had never imagined. But with the arrival of this human warrior, hope flickered in her heart. Perhaps with courage and unity, they could withstand the Xyloans and protect their home. Above the battlefield, Ryan and Nira looked at each other across the chaos. Each recognized a kindred spirit in the other, a fighter who would not give up, no matter the cost. The war had just begun, and the first sparks of an extraordinary alliance were already forming. The planet Zorath burned, but its spirit remained unbroken, and far beyond, a human warrior had answered the call, ready to give everything for a world he had never known. Ryan stood on the plateau overlooking Zorath's capital, his eyes scanning the horizon. Fires burned across the city, and the distant thunder of Xyloan ships shook the ground beneath him. He had never seen a planet under attack like this. Every instinct in his body told him to act, but he needed a plan. A reckless move could cost countless lives, including his own. Queen Nira approached him, her steps steady and purposeful. Her eyes, glowing faintly in the dim light, met his. "You are strong," she said, her voice calm yet commanding. "But strength alone will not save this planet. We must move with strategy, or all will be lost." Ryan nodded. "I understand. I've faced battles before, but nothing like this. Tell me what you need and I will do it." Nira gestured toward the city below. "The Xyloans are striking in waves. Each wave tests our defenses and weakens our people. If we can hold the capital and protect the civilians, we may have a chance to regroup. I need someone who can strike at their supply lines, disrupt their formations, and give my army space to recover. That is why you are here." Ryan felt a surge of determination. "Consider it done. Show me the way." Together, they moved toward the city, avoiding burning streets and crumbling buildings. The air was thick with smoke and the faint hum of energy weapons. Zorathi soldiers recognized Nira and Ryan immediately. Some hesitated at first, unsure about this human warrior, but when Ryan demonstrated his skill in clearing a path through enemy drones, their doubts vanished. Ryan moved with precision, disabling automated Xyloan devices and guiding civilians to safety. Nira observed him carefully. She had seen many brave warriors in her lifetime, but Ryan's thinking was different. He anticipated enemy movements, adapted to changing situations, and inspired those around him. During a brief lull in the fighting, Nira and Ryan climbed a ridge overlooking the enemy lines. From this vantage point, they could see the full scope of the invasion. Xyloan ships hovered in formation, releasing energy beams that destroyed the city's outer districts. Soldiers moved quickly between buildings, but even they struggled to keep up with the relentless assault. "We cannot defeat them in direct battle," Nira said. "We need a way to turn the tide. We need something unexpected." Ryan studied. The enemy. They are organized but predictable. Their ships follow the same flight paths. Their ground units respond in patterns. We can use that. I can lead a strike team to hit them where they least expect it. Nira nodded. Then we act. Time is against us. Every hour we delay, more of my people suffer. Are you ready to risk yourself for Zorath? Ryan did not hesitate. I came here knowing the risk. I am ready. Under the cover of night, they assembled a small strike team. Ryan taught the Zorathi soldiers human tactics, moving silently, coordinating attacks, and using the terrain to their advantage. The soldiers adapted quickly, inspired by both Rian's skill and Nira's leadership. Together, they became a force, capable of striking fear into the Xyloans. Their mission was clear: infiltrate an enemy supply depot located on the outskirts of the city and destroy it. Success would delay the Xyloans' next assault and give Zorath a chance to regroup. As they moved through the darkened streets, tension filled the air. Every corner held danger. Energy beams from distant ships lit up the night like lightning, and the sounds of battle echoed through the city. Ryan led the way, disabling traps and guiding the soldiers with precision. Nira stayed close, her presence a reminder of courage and hope. When they reached the depot, the team found it heavily guarded. Ryan studied the layout quickly, formulating a plan. We strike from 3 directions, he said. Nira, you lead your squad from the north. I will take the south. The center will follow my lead. Timing is everything. We move on my mark. The strike began with silent precision. Ryan and his team moved like shadows, taking down guards with non-lethal energy strikes whenever possible. Nira's squad fought with unmatched bravery, using their strength and knowledge of the city to gain advantage. Within minutes, the depot was in chaos. Explosions erupted, sending Xyloan supplies and vehicles into flames. The sound of alarms reached their ears. The Xyloans realized the attack, and reinforcements began arriving. Rian and Nira knew they had only moments to escape. Using a hidden tunnel network, they led their team back toward the city center, avoiding enemy patrols and automated drones. When they emerged, the first rays of dawn were breaking over Zorath. The city was still burning, but the depot's destruction had bought time. Nira's army had a chance to reorganize, and the civilians had a brief moment of safety. Nira turned to Ryan, her eyes reflecting both relief and determination. You have done what many thought impossible. You have given us hope. Ryan shook his head. I only did what I had to. The real strength is in your people. You inspire them to fight, even when all seems lost. For the first time since the invasion began, a sense of hope spread among the Zorathi. The Xyloans were still powerful, but the human warrior's arrival had changed the balance. Nira realized that perhaps this stranger from a distant world could be the key to saving her people. As the sun rose, painting the sky with gold and green, Ryan looked toward the horizon. He knew the journey ahead would be even more dangerous. The Xyloans would retaliate, and the next battle could be worse than anything they had faced. But he also knew that together with Nira and her people, they could fight against impossible odds. The human warrior had arrived on Zorath, not just to fight, but to stand as a symbol of courage and hope. And the alien queen, once facing despair, now saw a new path forward. The war for Zorath was only beginning, and both human and alien would face challenges that would test their strength, intelligence, and courage. But one thing was certain: the bond between the queen and the warrior had been forged in fire and battle, and it would shape the fate of the planet in ways neither could yet imagine. The destruction of the Xyloan supply depot had given Zorath a brief moment of hope. The city's streets, though scarred by fire and energy blasts, were alive with movement. Zorathi soldiers repaired defenses while citizens worked together to rescue the wounded and rebuild what they could. Queen Nera watched from the central tower of the capital, her eyes scanning the horizon. But hope was fragile. The Xyloans would not allow a single setback to slow them. Reports came in from scouts. The enemy was regrouping for a massive counterattack. Ships swarmed through the sky, moving in formations designed to crush resistance. On the ground, mechanized. Units advanced, their armor glinting with alien energy. Nera knew the coming battle would test her people in ways they had never imagined. Ryan stood beside her, surveying the enemy. His eyes, trained for strategy and combat, noticed something others might miss. "They are strong," he said, "but they are predictable. Their formations are rigid. If we can force them to split, we can gain an advantage." Nera nodded. "Then we prepare. Every citizen who can fight must be ready. Every soldier must hold their position. And you," she said, turning to Ryan, "will lead the strike team that hits them where they least expect it." The plan was bold. While Nera's main army held the front lines, Ryan's team would infiltrate behind enemy lines and disrupt their command units. This strategy required precision, courage, and perfect timing. Ryan felt the weight of the task, but he also felt a sense of purpose he had never known before. As dawn broke, the first signs of battle appeared. Xyloan ships descended, energy beams scorching the ground. Soldiers held their positions, firing back with determination. The human and Zorathi forces fought side by side, moving with a coordination that surprised even the Queen. Ryan's team moved through the shadows, using tunnels and abandoned buildings to avoid detection. The streets echoed with distant blasts and the cries of combat. But they remained focused. Each step was calculated, each action precise. They reached the outskirts of the Xyloan command unit, a large armored building bristling with weapons. Ryan studied it carefully. "We cannot storm it head-on. We need a distraction," he whispered. Nera stepped forward. "My squad can create the distraction, draw their attention, make them think the attack is coming from the south. You strike. From the east. Timing is everything." Ryan nodded. "Understood." The distraction began. Nera's soldiers moved through the streets, creating controlled explosions and drawing enemy fire. The Xyloans, seeing movement in the south, diverted their attention. Meanwhile, Ryan and his team advanced along narrow alleys and hidden paths. They encountered Xyloan patrols, but Ryan's strategy allowed them to avoid direct confrontation whenever possible. When combat was unavoidable, his team acted with precision. Soldiers disabled enemy units, while Ryan led small strikes to weaken their defenses. The human warrior's skill impressed even the Zorathi fighters, who quickly learned from his tactics. Finally, they reached the command unit. Ryan observed the layout and devised a plan. Using energy disruptors, they could temporarily disable the building's defenses, giving Nera's army an opportunity to push forward. The team worked silently, coordinating each action. As the disruptors activated, alarms rang throughout the Xyloan lines. The enemy realized they were under attack from within, but it was too late. Nera's army, seizing the moment, pressed forward. Energy beams and weapons fire created chaos among the Xyloans, forcing them to split their forces. Ryan led his team inside the command unit. The halls were filled with alien machinery, glowing panels, and weapons ready for use. He directed his team carefully, ensuring minimal casualties. They disabled communication devices, destroyed key machinery, and cut off supply lines. Every action weakened the Xyloans and strengthened the Zorathi position. In the main chamber, Ryan came face with the enemy commander. The Xyloan leader was massive, armored, and armed with a weapon that pulsed with deadly energy. Without hesitation, Ryan engaged. The battle was fierce, each strike requiring skill and timing. Using both strength and intelligence, Ryan managed to force the commander back, eventually disabling his weapon. Outside, the battle continued. Nera's army, inspired by Ryan's strike team, pressed forward with renewed determination. Civilians joined in small ways, helping wherever they could. Even in the chaos of war, the people of Zorath showed courage and resilience. After a long and grueling fight, the Xyloans began to retreat. Their formations broke under the pressure of coordinated attacks from both the front lines and Rian's strike team. Smoke rose into the sky, and the sounds of battle slowly faded. Nira approached Rian once the battle ended. "You have done more than I could have imagined," she said. "Your courage and skill have given my people a chance to survive. I see now that humans are unlike any warrior I have known." Ryan nodded, though exhaustion showed on his face. "I could not have done it alone. Your people fought bravely, and your leadership inspired everyone. Together, we made the difference." The battle had been won, but the cost was clear. Buildings were damaged, soldiers were injured, and the city bore the scars of conflict. Nira walked through the streets, helping where she could, comforting her people and ensuring the wounded received care. She knew the Xyloans would return, stronger and more determined. That evening, as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of red and gold, Ryan and Nira stood together overlooking the city. The air was filled with the quiet hum of recovery, a rare moment of peace after the storm. "We have won this battle," Nira said. "But the war is far from over. We must prepare for what comes next. The Xyloans will not forgive this defeat." Ryan looked at her, determination in his eyes. "Then we prepare. I will stand with you, no matter what comes. Your people will not face the enemy alone." For the first time, Nira felt a deep sense of hope. The human warrior was not only brave, but he also understood the weight of responsibility. Together, they had achieved the impossible, slowing an enemy thought unstoppable. As night fell over Zorath, fires still burned in some parts of the city, but the spirit of its people remained unbroken. Rian and Nira knew that their alliance had changed the course of the war. They had faced the first true test, and though the Xyloans would strike again, Zorath now had a fighting chance. The bond between human and queen, forged in the heat of battle, would shape the coming days, and as stars shone over the recovering city, both knew that greater challenges awaited, but they would face them together with courage, strategy, and unyielding hope. The sun rose over Zorath, casting golden light on the recovering city. Fires from the previous battles still smoked in the distance, and the hum of energy weapons was replaced by the quiet chatter of citizens rebuilding their homes. Queen Nira walked through the streets, checking on her people, but her mind was elsewhere. The Xyloans were still out there, regrouping, and she knew that if they returned stronger, Zorath might not survive another attack. Ryan met her near the central plaza. His armor was scorched from the previous battle, and dirt and soot marked his face. Despite the exhaustion in his body, his eyes were bright with determination. "We need a way to end this," he said, his voice low but steady. "The Xyloans are relentless. If we fight them the same way, we will keep losing lives." Nira nodded. "There is one possibility, though it is dangerous. Long ago, our ancestors built a weapon, hidden deep within the planet. It is powerful enough to stop the Xyloans, but it requires courage and sacrifice to use. Many have tried to locate it and failed." Ryan's eyes widened. "A weapon strong enough to change the tide of war? Then we have to find it. Tell me everything you know." Nira led Rian to a hidden chamber beneath the palace, a place that few had entered in centuries. Ancient symbols glowed faintly on the walls, and the air hummed with energy. She explained the legend of the weapon. It was created to protect Zorath in times of great peril, but it demanded a wielder willing to risk everything. Only one with pure intent and courage could activate it. "It is not enough to find it," Nira said. "The weapon tests those who use it. Many have turned back, unable to face the challenge. If we fail, we may never see Zorath again." Rian did not hesitate. "Then I will face it. I am here to help your people. Show me where to begin." Nira guided him to an ancient map etched into a crystal. It displayed the path to the weapon, hidden in ruins deep within the mountains of Zorath. The journey would be perilous, filled with traps and wild creatures that had made the ruins their home. "We must leave at once," Nira said. "Every moment counts. The Xyloans will strike again, and we must be ready." They set out with a small team of Zorathi warriors. The journey through the mountains was treacherous. Jagged rocks and narrow paths forced them to move carefully. Strange creatures lurked in the shadows, glowing eyes watching from the cliffs. Ryan led the way, using his knowledge of strategy to avoid unnecessary confrontation. But when they were attacked, he fought with precision and bravery. The group encountered the first obstacle, a chasm too wide to cross by normal means. Nira studied the ancient ruins and found a partially broken bridge. Using ropes and teamwork, they carefully crossed, step by step. Ryan held the rear, ensuring no one slipped or fell. Once across, the ruins appeared before them. Massive stone structures, carved with symbols of Zorath's history, rose into the sky. The air was thick with energy, and every step they took seemed to resonate with the planet itself. "The weapon is here," Nira whispered, her eyes scanning the ruins. "But it will not be easy. The trials begin now." Their first trial was one of intelligence and courage. Doors of solid stone blocked their path, covered with intricate patterns and glowing symbols. Ryan studied the symbols, recognizing patterns similar to those he had seen in ancient Earth history. With Nira's guidance, he pressed the correct sequence and the doors slowly opened. Inside, the chamber was dark, but alive with energy. The walls pulsed with light, and a faint hum filled the air. At the center lay the weapon, a crystalline structure that glowed with power. Its shape shifted, almost as if it were alive. Ryan approached cautiously. "This is it," he said. "It feels different, alive." Nira nodded. "It will respond only to those who are willing to risk everything. The weapon tests intent and courage. If you hesitate, it may reject you." Ryan took a deep breath and stepped closer. The weapon's light intensified, and visions appeared around him, scenes of the past, Zorath's history, and the sacrifices of its people. He saw warriors who had given their lives to protect the planet, citizens who had fought bravely, and the suffering caused by the Xyloans. Each vision strengthened his resolve. "I will not fail," he whispered. "I am here to protect these people, no matter the cost," the weapon responded. Its crystalline structure shifted and expanded, recognizing Ryan's courage. Energy flowed through him, not to harm, but to test his strength and purity of intent. The chamber shook, and the walls hummed louder. Ryan felt the immense power of the weapon, and he knew he had to control it, not let it control him. Nira watched carefully. "Focus. Your mind must be steady. Your heart must be certain. The weapon will align with your courage." Ryan concentrated, drawing on every skill, every lesson, every ounce of bravery he possessed. The energy around him pulsed, but he stood firm. Slowly, the weapon's power settled, responding to him. Light flowed from the crystal and into the mountains, sending waves of energy across Zorath. Outside the ruins, the ground trembled. Nira and the warriors felt the power surge, knowing that the weapon could now change the balance of the war. But they also understood that activating it fully would demand even more sacrifice. Ryan stepped back, exhausted but resolute. "The weapon is ours to use," he said, "but we must be ready for what comes next. The Xyloans will not stop, and we will face them again." Nira approached him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You have done what few could. Your courage has given my people hope. Together, we can face whatever comes." As they left the ruins, the team felt a renewed sense of purpose. The weapon had been found, and with it, a chance to protect Zorath and its people. But the true test was only beginning. They would need strategy, bravery, and trust in each other to wield its power when the Xyloans returned. The journey back to the capital was quiet, but filled with anticipation. Every step brought them closer to the coming battle. Ryan and Nira shared a silent understanding. The future of Zorath rested not only on weapons and strength, but on courage, unity, and the willingness to give everything to protect their home. The city of Zorath was slowly recovering from the last battle. Civilians rebuilt homes, soldiers repaired defenses, and the queen worked tirelessly to restore order. The hidden weapon had been found, and its power promised hope. Yet, despite the calm, Nira sensed a shadow among her own people. Her council had always been loyal, but trust was a fragile thing during war. Reports came of strange actions, supplies disappearing, soldiers being delayed, and patrols mysteriously ambushed. Nira studied the reports carefully. One name appeared more than the others: General Varek, a seasoned commander who had led many. Victories in the past. She summoned Varek to the palace. His armor gleamed in the sunlight and his eyes were sharp, but Nira could see the tension in his posture. "General," she said calmly, "your recent actions have raised questions. Explain the delays and missing supplies." Varek bowed slightly. "Your Majesty, the delays were caused by scouting errors. The Xyloans are clever and the paths are dangerous. I assure you, there is no betrayal." Nira studied him carefully, her instincts warning her that something was wrong. She could not act without proof, but she could not ignore her feelings either. Meanwhile, Ryan prepared for another patrol outside the city. The Xyloans had retreated for now, but their return was certain. The human warrior trained soldiers in new strategies, combining his knowledge with the Zorathi techniques. He moved with confidence and purpose, inspiring those around him. That evening, Nira joined Rayan on the city walls to oversee the patrol. The sky was streaked with the last light of the sun, and a quiet tension filled the air. "Something is not right," Nira said softly. "I feel a shadow in our ranks. I cannot tell if it is fear or betrayal, but we must remain vigilant." Ryan nodded. "I trust your instincts. We will watch closely and act if necessary." The next day, the Xyloans launched a sudden attack. Their ships descended rapidly, and ground units moved swiftly to surround the capital. Nira's forces fought back, but this time, the chaos was greater. Supply lines were cut, and soldiers were ambushed at unexpected locations. Ryan noticed something strange. Some units hesitated or retreated without orders. He realized that someone inside the city was aiding the enemy. "This is no ordinary attack," he said. "We have a traitor. We must act fast before they destroy us from within." Nira understood immediately. Her gaze fell on General Varek, who commanded the troops in the center of the city. His movements had been suspicious, and now they aligned with the enemy's attacks. She turned to Ryan. "We must stop him. If Varek continues, Zorath will fall." Ryan moved quickly, gathering a small team of trusted soldiers. They navigated the streets carefully, avoiding Xyloan patrols while keeping an eye on Varek. They found him communicating with enemy units, directing them to vulnerable positions. The betrayal was undeniable. Confronting Varek was dangerous. He was a skilled fighter, armed and ready to defend himself. Ryan approached him cautiously. "General Varek," he called out, "your betrayal ends now. Surrender, and no one else will be harmed." Varek laughed, a cold sound that echoed through the empty street. "You are too late, human. Zorath will fall, and the queen will regret trusting outsiders." Ryan and his team engaged Varek. The fight was intense, combining skill, strategy, and brute force. Ryan moved with agility, anticipating Varek's attacks and countering them. Sparks flew as weapons clashed, and the sound of battle rang through the city. Meanwhile, Nera led her army against the Xyloans. She used the chaos caused by Ryan's strike to push back enemy forces. Her soldiers, inspired by her bravery, fought with renewed determination. Every maneuver was calculated, every attack precise. Back in the streets, Ryan finally disarmed Varric, forcing him to surrender. The traitor was taken into custody, and the damage he caused was being repaired by loyal soldiers. The threat from within had been neutralized, but Nera knew the danger was far from over. She met Rian near the central plaza. "You have saved more than my city today," she said. "You have protected my people from a threat that could have destroyed everything. I owe you my deepest gratitude." Ryan shook his head. "I only did what was necessary. You have an incredible people here, and I fight to protect them. Betrayal is dangerous, but courage and loyalty are stronger." The city slowly returned to order, but the battle had taught them an important lesson. Even among allies, vigilance was necessary. Trust was earned, and courage was proven through actions, not words. As night fell, Nera and Ryan stood together, on the palace balcony, looking at the stars above Zorath. The hidden weapon they had found was ready to be used, but they knew the Xyloans would return with greater force. The next battles would be harder, and the risks even greater. "We have survived this trial," Nera said softly, "but the true test is yet to come. Are you ready, Ryan?" Ryan looked at the alien queen, determination shining in his eyes. "I am ready. Whatever comes, we face it together. Your people will not face the enemy alone." The stars above seemed to shine brighter that night, as if acknowledging the courage and unity of the warriors below. The city of Zorath had faced betrayal, survived, and grown stronger. And far away from Earth, a human warrior had proven that courage, loyalty, and sacrifice could change the fate of an entire world. As the night deepened, both Nera and Rian understood one truth: the Xyloans would return, and when they did, the stakes would be higher. But with trust, strategy, and bravery, they would stand against any threat. Together, they would protect Zorath, no matter the cost. The city of Zorath had survived the Xyloan attacks for now, but the air was thick with tension. Civilians rebuilt homes, soldiers repaired defenses, and Queen Nera walked among her people, offering words of encouragement. Yet she knew the Xyloans would return, stronger and more determined. The hidden weapon had been found, but to wield its full power, a great sacrifice was needed. Rian stood beside Nera, looking over the city from the palace balcony. His armor was scratched, and his face bore marks of exhaustion, yet his eyes were steady and focused. He had grown close to the queen and her people in a short time, learning their culture, their values, and their courage. "We cannot wait for them to strike again," Rian said quietly. "If we do, we may lose everything." Nera nodded. "The weapon can end this war, but it demands a life to unlock its full potential. Only one who is willing to give everything can activate it. Are you prepared, Ryan?" Ryan took a deep breath. He had trained for battles and faced countless dangers, but this was different. This was more than skill or strategy. It was courage, selflessness, and the willingness to risk everything for another world. He met Nera's gaze. "If it is the only way to save your people, I am ready." The queen placed her hand on his shoulder. "Your courage honors us all. Know that you are not alone, even in this trial. Zorath stands with you in spirit." Together, they led a small team toward the mountains, where the weapon had been hidden. The journey was perilous. Xyloan scouts roamed the area, and wild creatures, sensing the human and alien presence, emerged from the shadows. Ryan moved with agility and strategy, guiding the group through narrow paths and hidden trails. Nera's soldiers fought bravely, protecting the team whenever danger approached. At last, they reached the ruins where the weapon awaited. The crystalline structure glowed faintly, humming with energy. Ryan stepped forward, feeling the immense power radiating from it. He knew that activating it would not only test his courage, but could cost him his life. Nera and the soldiers stood back, forming a protective circle. Ryan focused, drawing on all his strength, intelligence, and determination. The weapon's energy pulsed around him, testing his intent. Visions appeared, scenes of Zorath's past, its people fighting for survival, and the destruction caused by the Xyloans. Each vision strengthened his resolve. "I am ready," Ryan whispered. "I give myself for the people of Zorath. I give everything to protect this world." The weapon responded. Energy flowed through Ryan, not to harm, but to challenge him. The chamber trembled as the crystalline structure expanded, sending pulses of light across the ruins. Ryan felt the immense weight of the power, but he held firm. He controlled it, channeling it toward the Xyloans. Outside, the Xyloans sensed the surge of energy. Their ships paused mid-flight, their formations breaking under the invisible force. On the ground, mechanized units slowed as if struck by an unseen hand. The tide of the war was changing, but the weapon demanded more. Ryan knew what he had to do. To fully release its power, he had to expose himself directly to the energy. He took a deep breath and stepped fully into the weapon's core. Light enveloped him, and the chamber shook violently. Nera and the soldiers held their positions, shielding their eyes and bracing for the worst. The weapon's energy surged outward, traveling across Zorath, reaching every corner of the planet. Xyloan ships faltered, their energy weapons shutting down. Ground units froze, as if the planet itself had risen against them. The people of Zorath watched in awe as waves of light swept across the battlefield, pushing the invaders back. Ryan felt the strain of the power, but he focused on his intent to protect the planet and its people. His mind and heart aligned with the weapon, and slowly, the Xyloans' forces began to retreat. Ships exploded in the distance, and mechanized units fell silent. The war that had seemed unstoppable was now turning in favor of Zorath. Finally, after what felt like hours, the energy subsided. The ruins were silent, the chamber dimly glowing, and Ryan collapsed to the ground. Nera ran to him, fear gripping her heart. "Ryan, are you alive?" He looked up weakly, a faint smile on his lips. "It's done. Zorath is safe. Thanks to all of you, and your people's courage." Nera held him tightly. "You have given everything for us. You are our hero, Ryan. Your bravery will be remembered for generations." The soldiers around them cheered, their morale lifted by the victory. The Xyloans had retreated beyond the planet's orbit, defeated for now. Zorath had survived not by chance, but by courage, intelligence, and sacrifice. Ryan's body was exhausted, and he struggled to stay conscious. Yet in his heart, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had faced the ultimate trial, and through his actions, the planet and its people were safe. Nera turned to her soldiers and citizens who had gathered at the ruins. "Today we have seen what courage truly means. A human warrior stood with us, giving everything to protect Zorath. Let this be a lesson to all. Bravery, loyalty, and selflessness can change the fate of a world." The people cheered, their voices echoing across the mountains and valleys. Even in the darkest times, hope had survived. The human warrior had shown them the strength of unity and courage, bridging two worlds in a bond that could never be broken. As night fell over Zorath, the stars shone brighter than ever. Fires from the retreating Xyloans had been extinguished, and the city below was safe. Ryan rested in the ruins, recovering from the immense energy of the weapon, while Nera stayed close, ensuring he was unharmed. The war was not completely over, for the Xyloans might return someday. But for now, Zorath had survived, stronger and more united than ever. And far beyond Earth, a human warrior had proven that one life, given fully and courageously, could save an entire world. Ryan looked up at the sky, faintly smiling despite his exhaustion. He had given everything, but the reward was clear. The people of Zorath lived, and hope had been restored. Nira knelt beside him. Rest now, Ryan. You have earned it. The planet owes you more than words can say. Your courage has changed our destiny. As he closed his eyes, a sense of peace filled him. The weapon's power had been unleashed, the Xyloans defeated, and the bond between human and alien stronger than ever. The story of Ryan, the human warrior, would be remembered across the stars as a tale of bravery, sacrifice, and the unbreakable spirit of life itself. The skies over Zorath were calm at last. The Xyloan fleet had retreated far beyond the planet's orbit, their power broken by the weapon Ryan had activated. Fires still smoldered in parts of the city, but the people of Zorath worked tirelessly to rebuild. Hope, once fragile, now burned brightly in every heart. Rian sat with Queen Nira on a balcony overlooking the capital. The human warrior's body still bore the marks of his trial, yet his spirit remained strong. The weapon's energy had been immense, but he had survived, guided by courage and the desire to protect this alien world. You have given everything, Nira said softly, yet here you are, alive. Your bravery has changed the course of history. Ryan shook his head, smiling faintly. I could not have done it alone. Your people fought bravely, and your leadership inspired everyone. We did this together. Nira's gaze softened. I have seen many warriors in my life, but none like you. You are not just strong. You understand what it means to fight for others. That is why Zorath stands today. Below them, citizens worked side by side, clearing rubble, repairing buildings, and caring for the wounded. Soldiers patrolled the streets, ensuring safety, while children returned to schools that had been damaged in the battles. The city was alive again, full of energy and hope. Ryan noticed something that made him smile. Despite the scars of war, the people laughed. They shared stories, celebrated small victories, and honored those who had fallen. Courage, he realized, was not just about fighting. It was about resilience, hope, and the determination to keep moving forward. Nira turned to him. The weapon you activated is now dormant, resting within the planet. It will respond again only if Zorath faces a true threat. Your actions have not only saved us today, but ensured that future generations will have a chance to survive. Ryan nodded. Then it is up to your people to protect what we have earned. You are strong, Nira. Stronger than you know. Zorath will thrive because of you. The queen smiled, a mixture of pride and gratitude. And you will always have a place here, Rian. You are part of our history now, our hero. Your story will be told for generations. Days passed, and life on Zorath slowly returned to normal. Markets reopened, children played in the streets, and the rebuilt city shone in the sunlight. The bond between the humans and Zorathi grew stronger. Ryan trained soldiers, shared knowledge of Earth's strategies, and taught the people to combine their unique strengths with new tactics. Nira observed him from the palace tower, seeing how the warrior had become more than just a fighter. He was a teacher, a leader, and a symbol of hope. She knew that his presence had changed Zorath forever. One morning, as the twin suns rose over the horizon, Nira gathered the citizens in the central plaza. Flags and banners waved gently in the breeze, and the people looked to her with admiration and respect. People of Zorath, she began, her voice carrying across the plaza. We have faced a threat that could have destroyed our world. But through courage, unity, and sacrifice, we have survived. A human warrior came to our aid, not for glory, but to protect us all. His actions remind us that bravery is not measured by strength alone, but by the willingness to fight for others. Ryan stood beside her, humble yet proud. The citizens cheered, their voices echoing through the city. Children waved small banners with his name, and soldiers saluted him. The human warrior had become a living legend. Later, Ryan walked through the city, observing the changes. Citizens spoke to him with gratitude, soldiers sought his advice, and even the youngest children waved and smiled. He realized that his presence had not only saved Zorath, but had inspired hope, courage, and unity among its people. Nira joined him, placing a hand on his shoulder. The Xyloans may return someday, but we will be ready. You have shown us the way. Your courage has become part of our strength. Ryan smiled. Then we face the future together. Your people are strong, Nira. You have everything you need to protect Zorath. I came here as a stranger, but I leave knowing that this world has become part of me too. The queen looked out over the city, feeling the warmth of the sun and the quiet hum of life returning. We have survived, and we will thrive. Thanks to you, Ryan, and the courage of every citizen of Zorath. In the days that followed, Ryan continued to help the city rebuild. He taught advanced strategies, helped design defenses, and trained soldiers to work alongside Zorathi warriors. Every lesson, every moment of guidance, strengthened the bond between the human and alien civilizations. Nira, meanwhile, focused on leadership, diplomacy, and the well-being of her people. With Ryan's help, she created a council of leaders, combining the best of Zorath's traditions with new strategies and ideas. Together, they planned for the future, ensuring that the city and planet would never again face such danger unprepared. As twilight fell one evening, Ryan and Nira stood together atop the palace tower. The stars above Zorath shone brighter than ever, reflecting the hope, courage, and unity that now defined the planet. You have done more than I could have imagined, Nira said softly. Your bravery, your selflessness, your courage, it will be remembered forever. Ryan looked at the horizon, the twin suns dipping low. I did what anyone would do for a world worth saving, but seeing your people thrive, knowing Zorath is safe, that is the reward. Nira smiled. Then let us celebrate not only our victory, but the bond we have forged. Together, human and Zorathi, we have changed history. The city below glowed with life and energy. Markets were open, laughter filled the streets, and the people moved with confidence and purpose. The scars of war remained, but they were reminders of what had been overcome. Zorath had been tested and had emerged stronger than ever. Ryan turned to Nira. Whatever comes, we will face it together. Your people are brave, intelligent, and strong. I am proud to have fought beside you. The queen placed her hand on his. And I am proud to have had you by our side. You are part of Zorath now, Ryan. Our history, our victories, and our hope will always include you. As night settled over the city, the stars shimmered like diamonds across the sky. The twin moons rose, casting soft light over the rebuilt streets. The people of Zorath slept peacefully, knowing that they were safe, that courage and sacrifice had protected them, and that hope would guide them into the future. Ryan gazed at the stars, a sense of fulfillment filling his heart. He had given. Everything faced impossible trials and witnessed the power of unity and courage. Zorath was alive, thriving, and ready for whatever challenges might come.